And we're back again. It's become more of a habit now than anything else, and it's the Vinyl Vandals with another show, and it's another special. We're just, I recorded mine about a month ago, my favourite 5, and I've never had a chance to put them on because we've just keep on getting graced of some of the royalty of UK hip hop. I'm sure Riddler will agree to that. Yeah, definitely class him.
Yeah, definitely.
Class this guy here as a legend. I'm going to let him introduce himself. People know me as King Fred. I'm a hip hop fan. I'm part of the Vinyl Vandals. And I'm going to let Spark tell you a little bit about what he does in the Vinyl Vandals.
Yeah, I'm Riddler, resident DJ. I've got my own radio show on Monday nights on Try Radio, 8 o'clock. Record collector. That's just a few of them. That's just a little bit few of them. Live DJ as well. I love being out DJing when we get back to it, I suppose. Yeah. But yeah, that's me.
And I'm going to let him introduce himself. But it's a great pleasure that we've got you here today. I speak for me, Michael, Julie, and John, who are the other 2 Vinyl Vandals, and for a lot of people in the Northeast, from Teesside all the way up to Tweedside, the Berwick borders there, Tyneside, Wearside. There's a lot of fans up here who like the stuff that you've done. So you want to tell us who you are and what your name is in the game?
Yeah, I'm MC Mercury from the band called Gunshot, basically.
Cool.
Yay.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. For those who don't know, because there is people, I get people that don't even like hip hop tune into this as well. They just like what we're doing. They're learning something about hip hop as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit about who Gunshot are, where their place is in UK hip hop and hip hop in general, to be honest?
Yeah, so Gunshot was, I think, one of the probably seminal UK hip hop bands from probably about 1990 through to 2000. So that decade, we released about 3 albums. The members with myself, Mercury, Alkaline, and originally Koo Rock and White Child Ricks and Barry Blue. And then after about 2 or 3 12 inches, we went down from 3 MCs to 2, which just became myself, Mercury, and Alkaline, and White Child Ricks. So yeah, that's the kind of very quick overview about Gunshot, about where we came from, where we are now, which is a little bit different to where we was back in 1990. But yeah, it's that's it really. That's
great. We will come back and we'll find out about lots of different bits about the history. I'm sure Riddler's got stuff written down. I've got stuff to speak about as well. We'll just do it like organically if we can. We're here to talk about your favorite 5. For those who don't know, what we like to do is since lockdown, I'll just give a little history just so people know. When we got locked down in March, we've always had conversations even before March about who's your favorite rapper, why this group is better than that group, who was the better producer, from UK to USA. It's one of those things that people like to talk about. There's all these hip hop groups on Facebook, from UK debates to Agent B Boys. There's all these different things, and it's nice to have a talk. It's not, nobody's right, nobody's wrong, but it's kind of for debate, I think, and we like to talk about that as well. And when we got locked down, we were just going on and we were just talking on Facebook and stuff, and then we got a hold of Zoom and we started having these kind of chats. And said, wouldn't it be good if we could record ourselves? So Michael was the first person that stood up and said, well, I'll get recorded, and he recorded his favorite USA. And it became a thing, like, what's your favorite 5? It's easier to talk about your favorite, well, you would think it was, easier to talk about your favorite 10 or 20, but when you try and narrow it down to 5, it is really, really difficult. And I don't know anybody so far, who's shrunk it down to 5.
I'm thinking about changing it already.
I was saying to somebody the other day, it feels like you're cheating on your wife, you know what I mean? Like, I've left them out.
Can't say that.
We've squeezed it down to a favourite 5, and because this is a special, we're doing your favourite 5 UK and your favourite 5 USA. So if we could start with your first. Now, have you picked any particular order, or is it just a scrum of whatever?
Yeah, it's whatever. No particular order.
Okay.
So, yeah, so starting with the UK, My first would probably be Task Force.
Okay.
New Mic Order. Yeah, so Task Force, I think, are probably one of the best UK hip hop groups ever, personally, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Chester P, Farmer G, two brothers. Yeah, I mean, lyrically, Chester P's just got it. He was just an amazing lyricist. I mean, very vivid. Almost remind me of Rakim. You know what I mean? And maybe that some people might think that's a bit but the way he was able to kind of weave a story into his lyrics, and him and his brother, and they're just powerful, man. And we got them. Luckily, we're fortunate enough when we did our last album, International Rescue, we did a posse cut, and they came on that because they were kind of up and coming with the whole Mud family back in them days. So, but I knew Mike Order. Bit of a sad story around it because Mark B produced that.
Right.
Mark B, unfortunately, is no longer with us, but I mean, as an album, I just think it's like, I like an album from when you first put the needle down, you're not lifting it up until when the album finishes. And to me, it comes in that category, definitely within the UK side of things. So, New Mic Order, amazing album.
For me, I'm going to let Riddler speak in a second, but for me, I've never really been a massive fan of Task Force, not for any particular. I think it's just the people that I seem to like buy music with it back in the day and stuff as well. They weren't really into them, so I wasn't really into them. It was later on when I got into, friendly with other people like Riddler and other people. They used to talk about Task Force a lot, and they were never really on my sort of like radar. And going down to London, I think as well, family, cousins, and that. None of them were even talking about Task Force down there. No disrespect to them, but they were just never on my radar. So I've never really sort of like caught onto them. So, Riddler, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, like this album's like the first phase of Task Force, if you like, because there's another MC in it as well called Eno Red Rum.
Yeah.
Which is Murder One backwards, obviously.
Right.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that actually.
DJ Mr. Things in it as well as Mark B. So it's a really good lineup. I mean, some of the there's guests on there like Skinny Man as well. So
yeah. Let me tell you about Eno Red Rum though. I forgot because like I met him. He's a young kid. The thing about Task Force, they like to bring a lot of people in. They were they had. I mean, some of the guys they had some guy. I never heard him rhyme, to be fair, but some of the names. He was this guy called Hartog the Warthog. I mean, amazing name. I never heard him, but Eno Red Rum, he was bad. I mean, the only problem is like he had a very short career because he had a bit of a medical issue. So unfortunately, we didn't really hear much from him after the New Mic Order album, which I think was a shame because I think he was going to be going places. But yeah, I mean, like Michael said, I just think the album is just, I just think it's almost a faultless UK hip hop album. I honestly do. Especially the brothers McBain. You know what I mean? Like, it's On You.
It's a good track.
Yeah, and Mark, and I'll be honest with you, I was never really a Mark B fan. Funny enough. But until this album, and then obviously when he went on to do stuff with Blade, I just thought everything lined with that album. So I think, it definitely has to be one of my favorite UK hip hop albums of all time. That's for sure.
Nice one. Okay, my question would be about Task Force, and if you were going to recommend to me an album to get, would that be the one to get, or would you recommend any other ones for somebody who doesn't really know who they are?
Yeah, so I think they did, I don't know, Michael can confirm. I don't know if it was an EP or another album, Music from the Corner. I think they might have done a couple of volumes on that, but I'll be honest with you, I only seem to kind of levitate towards Mike Order. I didn't really, which was a shame. I didn't really follow them after that. And it might come back down to what you said. I think the thing with New Mic Order, it seemed to like, it gelled what they were looking to do, but they were very much guest appearing in other people's stuff and kind of doing collaborative projects. So sometimes it was quite hard to, in my opinion, kind of pin them down. But New Mic Order was like them just working together as an outfit. And like I said, it all came together. And then, I mean, it kind of, I really rated that album. But that, I would definitely recommend New Mic Order.
Because the further on, like the older albums, they sort of seem to get like really slow beats.
Yeah.
And it was sort, I'm not going to say boring, but it was sort of like, you thought it's a bit monotonous.
Yeah.
But the rhymes were still okay, but it was just really slow, and it wasn't really my style at all. But New Mike Order, definitely, that's their best album, I say.
Okay, I'll check it out if I can get it somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you've just hit the nail on the head for me as well, Riddler. I think when somebody introduced me to them, they sent me some sort of like a file with loads of like stuff on, and a lot of it was like it felt as though it was for the smokers, you know, like for like sitting in the room just nodding your head type of thing, which is not really my kind of thing. So maybe it just put me off, and I didn't really get into them because of that. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. So
it's funny. Sorry to cut across. It's funny you talk. I'm like Michael saying, I'm not really into that. There's a lot of it about as well, that slow loping type of. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not really up on the new MCs out there. Like I hear names like Conway and all, but I don't. But you know, it all seems very slow and I can't quite get into it. So I like. It doesn't have to be 100 miles per hour. But I like something a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? It's going to pep me up in my day rather than make me want to commit suicide, really.
That's okay, so like we always like to do, this is your favourite 5. From your favourite 5, each album, we'd like you to pick your favourite track off that favourite album. So what track you going for?
I'll probably say It's On You.
It's On You.
It's on you. It's on you. It's on you. It's on you.
Yeah.
It's on you. MCs, it's on you. Because like, not only is it, I think it's a dope track, but what they're saying in that track is like, look, if you guys want to get the cream, you want to get that following, then you're going to have to come up with something which is going to be quality, which is going to get people moving. You know, it's down to you, and it's down to the UK hip hop scene to kind of like literally put our own energies into what we have to try and make other people come into it. So, you know, there's a message behind that tune. Do you know what I mean? If you care to listen to what they're saying, but yeah, that would probably be my tune, to be fair.
All right, nice one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one with Skinny Man on as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
My favourites, I like Graph Origines.
Right, okay.
It's like a good storytelling song.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that graph related as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for that.
That's all right.
We move on. Could I ask you a question about Gunshot?
Of course you can.
So, Gunshot. Just so I've got a bit of a timeline. When you originally started, how did you meet each other? You know, what made you come together? You want to elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah. So, White Child Ricks was well known as a body popper and a graffiti artist.
Right.
Okay. And he was probably the only person I knew as well who also had decks, but I didn't know him. I just knew he had decks.
Yeah.
So one of the crew, Breakmaster Matt, who basically he used to collect breaks way back in the day from the age of 11. I mean, we've known each other for like, a lot of the members in the band known each other 30 years plus. So we're deep. So Breakmaster Matt started collecting records from back in the day. And I said to him, look, I need to try and get in with White Child Ricks. I couldn't DJ, but I basically wanted to pretend like I could DJ so that I could get invited round to his house. I said to Matt, give me a couple of doubles, and he gave me ultimate breaks, and I went round to Ricks and managed to kind of convince myself that I knew what I was doing. And he basically went on the decks and he did some madness, and like he said, there you go. And I was absolutely shocking. It was quite clear. I couldn't scratch. You know what I mean? It was shocking. But we became good friends after that. Mm-hmm. And then one thing led to another. We started to kind of like, due to our mutual appreciation of the bands at the time, like Demon Boys, Hijack, what have you, we started seeing whether or not we can formulate a rap band. And then Alkaline came on board, and then Kurok came on board, and we formed a group called Sudden Impact.
Okay.
And we used to battle a band called First Impact at our local youth centre.
Okay.
And we beat them, although they might kind of say something different at the time, but we beat them. And then, you know, we kind of thought we got something going on here. And then we were knocking out demos and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then one day we went up to Camden and we went into record and tape exchange. Was going through the record bins. and I come across a record by a band called Cash Crew, who was signed to Vinyl Solution. So I would look at the back of records to see what the label was right. Took a note of the number and all that, gave him a call. Vinyl Solution said to come down. Vinyl Solution was a record shop and a label. So the label was at the top and the record shop was at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So we went down there and we played them our demo. We rolled deep because I think at the time the band we was really into was Tough Crew.
Yeah.
The Tough Crew, man. It's like a whole, yeah. So we kind of modeled ourselves slightly on the Tough Crew. So we must have rolled there like 15 people deep. Our demo. J. Saul Kane, Beth Charge was there, and Alan, who owned the record shop, was there. And we played it in the record shop, the demo, and they were like very quiet. They were like, I mean, and after it finished, we were like, oh, well, that's it. You know what I mean? Not interested. The guy's not smiling or anything, giving any hint that he's into what we've just played. And he said, look, I can see there's something there, but what I'm going to say to you is go home, come back in a month's time with some new material, and then we'll see where we can go from there. Okay. So we went back. A month later, Battle Creek Brawl was what we'd done. Went to the record shop, played the demo. The demo was different to what people hear on the record, I should say, though. It was a completely different break underneath. Completely different. In fact, it was called Children of a Dying Breed.
Right.
But it was a different Dying Breed to what came out 3-4 records later. That was the original demo. That's what we went down there with. And the guy said, come back with something else. And we came out Battle Creek Brawl. And then the rest was history, basically. He signed us up there and then. And it was only, there you go. Battle Creek Brawl. Yeah. Signed us up. Brilliant picture. Sorry about the picture. That
cover there. That picture always reminds me of, I don't know if you ever remember the water margin.
Yes.
Yes, the water margin.
Yeah, love the water margin.
The water margin, where they're all standing there like the heroes.
Yeah.
The water margin, yeah. It always reminds me of that when I look at that picture. You know, I love it. Absolutely.
Do you know what? Iconic, man. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was photographed. Like, White Child Ricks is good at everything. He's one of them guys who, honestly, he is good at everything. Right, and he had at the time. So this is back in 1989. Yeah, and he had he borrowed his dad's camera on a tripod with a timer.
Yeah,
and where we took that picture is where the Olympic Stadium is now.
Right. Okay.
Because it used to be train yards.
Yeah.
It was train yards, and then they demolished it, but they didn't know. This is 1990, so this is way before the Olympics, but they just demolished the train yards. So basically set up the camera on a tripod, run up the rubble. So that must have took us about 5 attempts. Rick would have to run back down, fiddle with the camera again, run back up, and then that was the picture we got. I'm very pleased. So out of all our record covers, that's my favorite.
It's the best. It is.
That's our favorite.
I mean, I love how everybody's basically in B-boy apparel.
Yeah.
But then you've got this guy here in the middle, right in the middle.
That's
and he's got like a Crombie coat on.
French coat mafia.
I have to say, not everyone, although everyone in that picture was into hip hop, some were probably more into it than others. That's all I'll say. Yeah. But they were friends, you know what I mean? So it was just. Yeah, it was an iconic cover, and I mean, Blade used to say to me like, oh, because one of Blade's cover, he's got all these boys there. So there was a time at which, and then Hard Noise got all their boys on the cover. So there was a time when we was all trying to out mob each other. Who's got the most man? I'm serious. That's how it comes.
Yeah.
I think we set the gold standard right there. So, you know what I mean? But
that's the one I remember. Definitely the one.
Definitely. But just very quickly going back, when we signed our first record deal for Battle Creek Brawl, we signed a record. It was one record deal. We was ecstatic because back in them days, to get a record deal was a major thing, regardless if it was an independent record company or not. But it was just one for one release. And I remember saying to Alan, I was saying, look, well, what does success look like? What do we need to do for this to kind of warrant us kind of releasing more material? He said, like, if you sold 300 records, do you know what? Because this was a punk label.
Yeah, all right.
There it is.
They had some madness on there. So for them, it was just about, if we liked it, we released it. But there wasn't really any thinking there about, oh, we're going to build an album around bands. It was just, they just independently released stuff they liked. But anyway, he said 300 would be cool. Anyway, long story short, we sold 6,000, which back in them days,
Heavy.
it was heavy.
Yeah.
That first 12-inch to sell 6,000 in the UK hip hop, first band no one heard of, is crazy. So then we knew we was onto something, and it just went from there, really.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice one. That brings me nicely to your second choice. We'll come back to your history, but for now, unless you've got anything else to say, Michael?
I say, I first heard Battle Creek Brawl, Fred will know where, in Walker's, Walker's nightclub.
Yeah.
In the resident DJ there, he also had a record shop, and he brought that in for me, especially. And he says, look, I think you'll like this. I says, well, can we put it on? And I don't think he had heard it at all. But, so he put it on, and the dance floor was packed at the time, and he put it on, and all he heard it. Dun, 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 and then the breakneck beats, and like everybody on the dance floor went like that. But they still carried on dancing. But that's the first time I ever heard it, and amazing track. Like, it's still probably. I like Hijack, Hold No Hostage, but I think that just fades it.
I've got to disagree with you. I think a better track is 25.
Gun Salute.
Gun Salute. Yeah. I think that's better. Everyone goes on about Battle Creek Brawl, which is fine, but I love 25 Gun Salute.
Personally, for me, I was kind of, for my ears, listening back to Battle Creek Brawl, I listened to it differently to everyone else. So I listened to it and I'm thinking, I'm not too sure if it's actually all that, if I'm honest. Do you know what I mean? But then I'm listening at it at different ears. You got to think, from our perspective, we're always trying to better what we did last time. But you do over the years, there is an appreciation of what you did. So it was it was a good first release.
Nice one. Okay, we'll go on to your second album choice, please.
Yeah. So second album choice is Caveman.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Positive Reaction. That's it. So a surprising choice, because, do you know what I mean? I could have chose so many more.
Yeah. But
what I was trying to look for in my choices is albums that kind of gave me an emotion, because I like music with emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with Caveman is that when they first released things like Fry You Like Fish and Pages, man, UK hip hop at that time was either you kind of doing an American thing, which Caveman does have MCM who does rhyme in an American accent, but anyway, or you was going 200 miles per hour, which is the side of things we were on, like the Silver Bullets of this world.
Yeah.
And then obviously you had your American rap, your bebop, and your boom bap and all that, which they did incredibly well. But you didn't have a UK hip hop act, maybe Outlaw Posse, who basically took the American thing and did it even as good as for the UK market. And for me, Caveman just absolutely smashed it. I thought the principle as a producer was amazing. Mm-hmm. I think the ideas were solid, the execution, yep. You know what I mean? I just think, Mark, MCM, with the way he was rhyming, what he's rhyming about, I just think it was exceptional. And if there was ever a UK hip-hop act other than Hijack who was going to blow up and kind of really make everyone think, there's something special happening here, I think it would have been Caveman on the back of that album. I really rate it. Do you know what I mean?
And interesting enough, obviously, there wasn't that many, but they weren't from London, which was another interesting, because a lot of the acts like Use Lots, and a lot of others were London based.
Yeah.
And we were obviously just outside London, but to us it was London. Anywhere south of blooming there, I don't know, Middlesbrough.
Anywhere outside of your road is London.
It's all southern to us, we sometimes look over our shoulder when people say that Manchester's north. We're like, is it? But yeah, for us, yeah, for us to know that they were from is it Wickham, High Wickham?
It is High Wycombe, yeah. You know what though?
It was a surprise. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of the acts were from London at the time that we were following. You know.
Yeah, but I didn't really see it like that. You know, I must admit that's it never occurred to me. But then again, I lived in London, so
yeah.
Why would I think outside of that? So that's actually a good point. But perhaps that makes it even more special album. Come from that London bubble, and they just delivered that. I mean, and don't forget they were signed to Profile, bruv. It was a deal back then.
Yeah.
The only other couple of acts, Brotherhood was signed to Virgin, which was a big deal back then. I mean, like there was Tower Records. I don't know if when you guys came down to London, in Trafalgar Square, the Brotherhood had their posters in there, guy. Right. And I mean, that was a massive thing.
Yes.
Caveman were on Profile. They had Westwood support, I mean, like, and all the rest of it. So yeah, you know, and I think one of the other things I liked about the album was the breaks they were using. I mean, it was very funk and jazz orientated. A lot of James Brown, a lot of Kool in the Gang, but the way it was used, you know.
Yeah, very jazzy, very jazzy.
Yeah. Okay. Get moving, you know.
What's your favourite song off that album?
Oh god, I can't remember it now. Do you know what? I'm gonna have to cheat, man. I'm gonna have to cheat.
Well,
I was gonna say Fry You Like Fish and Pages, but that wasn't the one. It was the one which used a Who's Gonna Take the Weight break. Hang on, mate. Getting older, man. I'm 49, you know. The brain used to be. I think You Can't Take It.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take It. Yeah. I love the way the beats come in at the beginning, the way the beats are programmed, and then it's got that. Oh yeah, I just love stuff like that. Who's Gonna Take the Weight? Yeah, I can't sing, but I think You Can't Take It probably runs it for me.
Nice one.
Yeah. Okay. What about you guys?
What's that?
Look at you.
What about me?
Yeah.
Off that album.
Yeah.
Your favourite track?
My favourite track off that album, I would probably say Victory.
Ah, yeah. I was almost going to say that.
Yeah, Victory. Yeah, probably.
Victory is a good one. I like I'm Ready.
Yeah.
I think that's the big hit off there. I think you can play that like in a party and it'll just just blow up the party. Honestly, it's a really good track. I played it last night for James for his birthday on the show, on the radio show as well.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with a bit of Jimi Hendrix, Crosstown Track.
Yeah. No,
we used that as well in one of our demos. I mean, like, an amazing. Yeah. No. Anyway, Caveman, Positive Reaction. Yeah, great album.
Good stuff. Okay, we will go to your third choice.
Yeah, and this isn't in any particular order, and you know, this one. Come on, man. Everyone's going to mention this band. I almost don't even have to mention them, although I have already. It's Hijack, isn't it? Hijack gave birth to a lot of UK hip-hop. Yeah, Horns of Jericho, including us. Hijack gave birth to us. The whole way they went about doing it from a marketing perspective, whether they meant it or not, with the whole yin-yang sign.
Yeah.
The fact that Marty Sly was quite mysterious. He couldn't see him. He kind of purposely kept himself hidden in a lot of things. I mean, what more can you say? I mean, they are the zenith of UK hip hop. You know, to me, it used to be between London Posse and Hijack, if I'm honest, for different reasons. Because London Posse had that whole... London Posse gave birth to the grime scene and the fact that musicians now feel confident rhyming in their own accents, whether it be a London accent or Mancunian accent or a Newcastle accent. I think that comes from London Posse.
Yeah.
So they are important for that. But in terms of like the whole theatrics, it's got to be Hijack, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a shame they only made one album, but what an album still.
That's something that we always talk about on here. Or we chat in general about the fact that not many of the the top acts in the UK made more than one album. Some made two, but not many made more than one. There's only the likes of yourselves. Help us out here. Yourselves.
Blade.
Noise.
What's that?
Noise made two, yeah.
Made two, but again, it's only two. Black Twang. 4
Yeah.
5. And then you're struggling. I know that artists might have made lots of albums, but to have the sort of like because you talk about Task Force, they made lots of albums, but I don't think it had the impact. Like, but maybe I'm wrong, because I know a lot of people do like them. But when people talk about hip hop and artists who sort of like put the UK on the map with graft, you know what I mean? Like putting albums out. And even London Posse, even though they are my fave UK act, or one of my fave UK acts, I think, I'm always disappointed that they only did one album.
Yeah.
And then obviously Rodney only done one solo album so far. I always feel a bit cheated by that, obviously.
I can only speak for Gunshot, but what I think, making an album is incredibly hard work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, if you think Gunshot did 3 albums, people say 4, but one of them was a compilation, so I don't know if you can class it, but 3 original albums we made.
Yeah.
On average, 14 tracks, 12 to 14 tracks per album, so that's 45 tracks.
Yeah.
But you probably had to demo another 50 tracks on top of that.
Right.
And you're talking about 95, 100 tracks across 3 albums.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And there's a lot of like, oh well, you might have rhymed, you've demoed it, and then you've kind of thought, nah, we'll leave that, and then you make another one. It's very involved. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
So I mean, back then we had time. Don't have the time now. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that might be my theory around it. Is that they're hard work. They're hard.
Good point. Michael, anything to say at this point?
Did you, going back to like Hijack, and you've obviously seen them live, and did you base your sort of live shows on what they're doing? Because their sounds very like cinematographic, is it?
Cinematic.
Yes.
Cinematic, sorry.
Yes.
And Gunshot sound is also cinematic. So obviously, when you're doing your live shows, I don't know if you've seen Hijack, when they come on, they bring Comanche Sly on. Is a dead body in a body bag sort of thing.
Yeah,
and,
that was cool.
They resurrect them on stage or something. But because when I've seen yous live, it's always like really, really entertaining.
Yeah. So we were fortunate. We toured with them. We did a tour of them in Germany. So we kind of got to know them quite well, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess there were things about Hijack we did copy. I'm not going to lie. The one word name for a band, Gunshot.
Yeah.
Hijack. I mean, no one has to be a genius to work that one out. But then there was I was heavily into film. So was White Child Riggs. We all were. A lot of martial art films, funnily enough, before Wu-Tang. Battle Creek Ball, the name is from a Jackie Chan martial art film.
Yeah, well, I've obviously said that,
You know what I mean?
all of that.
Yeah, and even, anyway, so before Wu-Tang, but anyway, that's another story. But so the whole Hijack thing was incredibly cinematic and theatrical. And I think probably the best, which I'm probably getting ahead of myself, but if you was to say to me, what's the best track from their album, I would say Phantom of the Opera. Because to me,
that's mine as well.
Yeah.
That's mine. It's brilliant.
It encapsulates the whole thing about what Hijack was about, was the whole theatre and drama about it. And do you know what I mean? And like being extra about how you pronounce your words and what you're talking about, and down to the scratching. It was on a higher level. It was a higher form of art almost, the way they went about it. And then they brought in the martial arts thing before. Do you know what I mean? Although they didn't rhyme about it too much. I mean, Shogun Assassin, but they wasn't really talking about martial arts. But yeah, I mean, but Hijack were amazing. But we quickly, apart from the fact that we were called Gunshot, we also had the theatrics. We diverged very, very quickly because number one, we had 3 MCs and then number two, we got a straight up UK MC, which is me, and then we had a ragga based MC, which was Alkaline.
Yeah.
So that straight away, we was always going to create something different than what Hijack did. And I'm really glad that that was what we did, because that was our own personality. You know, it's almost like you needed the vehicle to kind of at least get you thinking about what you were going to do. But then we were confident to take the car wherever we wanted after that. Yeah. You know, and I think the roads we went down, we were incredibly proud of, you know what I mean? But we will always kind of give respect due, like Hijack, kind of seminal to the UK hip hop scene. But I think we kind of planted our own furrow after that, really.
Yeah.
You know?
Spot on. Okay. And like we always do, you picked you say your favorite one was
I'm sorry there.
Right.
Yeah. Got ahead of himself.
Just cross-referencing, making sure that's fine.
But yeah,
Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera.
I would say Phantom of the Opera, because, and also about that tune, at that point, did you guys, no one knew Undercover could rhyme, apart from Hijack. No one knew that. You just had Undercover as a dope scratch DJ along Supreme. Yeah. And Undercover's coming in with I appear, reappear, disappear, where on the chandeliers as the Phantom. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Do you know what I mean?
Brilliant.
You've touched on something there that I just was going to ask you later on, but I suppose it's the best time to ask now. So, as somebody who's been a martial artist since he was a kid, since my dad took me to judo as a kid, so you know, martial arts very much a part of my life.
Yeah.
Obviously, Wu-Tang always get the credit because of the name and because of all the imagery with the swords and all the rest of it. And, you know, it's, you know, from their first outing, you know, you knew straight away they were all about martial arts. But I've always said this, that there was people in this country doing it before them. Or I knew about people in this country before I knew about Wu-Tang. So, do you think there's been any copying going on, or do you think it's just coincidence? Is it just because black people tended to go to these cheap kung fu nights more than others? I know it was in America. I've heard that there's lots of those cheap nights there, and there was also ones in the UK here, especially down London, you know, where you could go to these all-night martial art things. Do you think was it a coincidence, or do you think there's something in that? Because there's Hughes with a bit of it in, Hijack, Catch 22.
Yeah.
All had a bit of that sort of martial art in it as well. So I just wondered, you know, if there was any kind of.
It's a good point. Do you know? I think you've kind of touched on it. I think that for black families, Caribbean families, I can only speak for coming from a Caribbean family. Martial arts was heavily into part of my growing up.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the water margins, because Kung Fu was a massive thing in the 70s worldwide anyway. It wasn't. And when I went back to Jamaica back in 1981, that's where I saw Battle Creek Brawl in a cinema in Jamaica. Yeah. And like my parents was banging to Kung Fu, and we would just get. It was a major part of my upbringing.
Yeah.
Like I did martial arts for about 5 years. I did jiu-jitsu. So it's always been there, but I think it's one of them. So the thing about the Wu-Tang Clan, which I have to, because I posted something on Facebook, I said something quite controversial. I said, I personally think the Wu-Tang Clan are overhyped. I think.
Right, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. And surprisingly enough, a lot of people agreed with me.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Blade said, like, I agree with you, but I say they're a little bit better than above average. And, you know, maybe he's right. But I think the thing with the Wu-Tang, they harnessed something which was there. So, you know, they fully exploited the Kung Fu imagery and the Kung Fu samples and made it their own. So that is weird. And they even called their band after one of the actual, there's a film called Wu-Tang versus Shaolin. Yeah, they proper aped it off, mate. Yeah. But before then, you had Depth Charge came out with Hando Jin, and he did Silver Fox with Alkaline. You know what I mean?
Correct.
You know, so Mighty Ethnics as well. Mighty Ethnics didn't necessarily go down that route, but Mighty Ethnics, one of their members was a Kung Fu man. So it was always there, but it was about who was going to be able to think, I'm going to completely exploit that and kind of use that as a vehicle. And that's what Wu-Tang did. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, so whether or not they copied us, I perhaps think not, because Kung Fu was around anyway. I just they were ones to exploit it and take it to where they wanted to take it, really. So
nice one. Okay, good stuff. Can can we move on to your next one then? Number 4.
Blade. Line goes from strength to strength.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you had Blade on your program. Yeah, there you go. The man himself. So, you know, the thing about Blade, yeah, you know what I mean? You can mistake Blade, and I'm going to be real talk now. I'm sure you won't mind. You can mistake Blade for being arrogant at times.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And I'll be honest with you, back in the day, right? Well, first, let me take a step back. His material is amazing, and in some respects, unsurpassable. This guy knows what he's doing, and he is operating at a high level. And when we used to make music, we used to listen to all the other crews, and we used to like think, right, we need to come up with something which is going to outdo them. I think even Blade said that. When I met Blade, I thought, you know what, there's a degree of arrogance there, right? But the reason why arrogance is important when you're actually working at that sort of level of confidence. You understand what I'm saying? When you're working at that level of quality, right, I think you deserve to be arrogant, right? And now when I see Blade, I just learn from him because he is a businessman. This man will teach you about life, right? Whether or not you want to follow it or not is up to you. He will show you things he's done. He will show you his disappointments. Yeah. And then he will show you his successes. Yeah. And at the time, I only ever see it from the successes point of view. So that's why I thought he was arrogant. But then actually, when you get to know someone, you think, actually, he's showing you two sides. He takes you on a journey. I mean, the whole thing, the lines goes from strength to strength. The man had no money. The man had to basically ask people to give him money in advance of him putting the album together. I mean, the guy's just entrepreneurial. But outside of that, this man is, I mean, I call him the GOAT, you know what I mean? And he laughs about it, but not GOAT as an animal, I mean, greatest of all time. Probably in trouble calling him arrogant, but you know, I'm not saying he was arrogant for arrogant's sake. I'm saying
I totally get where you're coming from.
You know what I'm saying,
It's a confidence, isn't it?
It's a confidence. Born out of struggle.
Yeah.
Because this man has come from a background, he wasn't born here like us. He come from struggle. Yeah. People don't realise that. I've even had a conversation about it directly with him. But you have to see his Facebook post to understand this guy has come from hard living and went through hard living, and at the back of it, he still delivered an amazing album against the odds. Can you imagine Blade going around to all the UK hip hop people trying to ask him to get help him up? Yeah. It ain't gonna happen, is it?
No, it's not.
And he fought through all that, and he delivered some amazing material.
He was a forerunner for crowdfunding, wasn't he? You know how people do it.
Absolutely.
Internet and all that, but he was doing that then. So you think about it, you know what I mean? He was ahead of his time even in that. You know what I mean? Yeah. This
is a man who gets knocked down and just comes back up. Yeah. Not many people can kind of do that. Absolutely. You know what I mean? I think business-wise, I think he touched upon the fact that when he used to go and tour, the money was in the merchandise, and we were like that as well. Yeah. We were like, do you know what? And we would wear our merchandise. You know, Michael, you've seen us for.
Yeah.
We weren't shy to wear our merchandise.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Because guess what? You see us wearing it.
Everybody wants it.
Yeah. But the thing is, it was quality T-shirts. Well, it wasn't like... It wasn't like... That's why I see some people still got Gunshot T-shirts 25 years later. All still looking good now. Because for us, it's like... Come on, man. We need to give a good show. How many US rap acts shows we've been to and it's just been rubbish? We want to give a good show, give people good night, let them take a memento. I mean, and it all helps build the whole legend of who you are as well. And Blade was incredibly good about that. So just musically as well, when we heard, you know what I mean? Like Lyrical Maniac. I mean, it goes on. I'm not going to remember them all. There's just too many. But the line goes strength to strength. You just listen to that album as well. The quality, No Sleep Nigel. Do you know what I mean? And just the whole concept and how it's executed. Yeah, trailblazer.
Nice one.
I mean, he told us, right? He told Fred in the interview last week that he had met you on the street. A couple of your members. I don't know if it was you. I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was you or Outlay or Rick's Outlay. You didn't see who it was, and you said you went up and asked him for advice. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to tell you this, you do this, you do that. I think he's one of the most helpful people in British hip hop. Well,
mate, definitely, yeah. I remember vaguely seeing him in a record shop in Walthamstow, but as to what the conversation, man, this is 30 odd years, I can't remember. But yeah, he will definitely give you his wisdom and knowledge without a shadow of a doubt. And as I say, just to kind of touch on it again, because I don't want this to be, you guys understand it, but I don't want it to be misinterpreted, especially by Blade. But the arrogance is important because this is a man who's shown you, when you get to the sunny side of things, you should enjoy it, but there's a whole load of other shit you've got to wade through before. Yeah. And if you're not prepared to wade through that, you ain't going to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And he's a man who will show you that. Yeah,
what I would say to that as well is there's not, arrogance is one way of saying it, but I think you've got to believe in yourself. I think if you're a martial artist, if you're a footballer, if you're an actor, if you're going to go on stage and sing, if you don't believe in yourself, you already lost your audience or your self-belief. If you already start doubting yourself, then that's going to start putting doubt into other people believing in what you're trying to sell to them.
Absolutely.
Whether that's singing, whether that's football, whether that's you're going into a boxing ring for a fight. If you've already started doubting yourself, then you've already sort of lost the battle. You know what I mean?
It's the same with life, really, isn't it? It's the life lesson. It's not just like with Blade. It wasn't just music with him. There's actually life lessons he was trying to. And he does it even more. He probably wasn't as explicit when he was doing it then, but then if you see some of the stuff he's talking about now, just on Facebook, he's very explicit about self-help. So, lots of dimensions to him, man.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, just before we move on, what's your favourite song off that album?
You know what? There's a lot to choose from, but I'm going to go with Dark and Sinister, because it's got mellow in it as well.
That's mine as well.
Yeah. I do that whole brain reading thing, you know what I mean? Look at my eyes. But Dark and Sinister, because I just think it's not a linear track in the sense that it's got like 8-beat bar and then 16-beat chorus. Yeah. It's confident enough to have that kind of horn breakdown, and then Blade comes and does his thing, and then mellow. It's a very quite experimental track in certain instances, but it's just a straight up banger.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, like two heavyweights going at it. Yeah, that's what I like to see.
I love that. I love the line, mellow while you're cursing because I'm fucking angry.
Yeah,
that's class.
You know what I mean? That's just yeah. I mean, I rhyme differently. I wish I could rhyme like that. Sometimes I'm more out there. But yeah, sometimes that's why Alkaline is such an amazing MC, because he can just throw anything out. You could give him tomato and he'd make it sound crisp. You know, I'm not really like that. But yeah. That's my tune, Dark and Sinister. That's for sure.
Nice one. Okay. I think it's about time we talk a bit more about your history. So I've got a question for you about Gunshot, the name. So not so much the name of Gunshot, but the fact that you had the name you got the name Mercury, and Alkali picked Alkali. Why? What happened there? Why did you come up with those names? What was the?
I think I said this in an interview I did a couple of years ago, and it's quite embarrassing, but it's the truth. But in London, you had different telecommunication companies.
Yeah.
And the one in there was Uncle Mercury Communications.
Oh yes. Yeah.
My phone, honestly, you know the port where you put the phone lead in with the jack. It even had Mercury on there. So that's where I got my name from.
Yeah.
I think Alkaline got his from a battery. So no, honestly, because I've heard people say, "Oh, Mercury." It sounds like two chemical elements, like there was some massive thought behind it. And you say Mercury and Alkaline, it just works. And I've heard people say, "Oh man, Mercury and Alkaline." You just say the names, it just works.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is like, I just got it from a phone company, and Danny got it from a battery, and that was it. There weren't much more thinking behind that.
Right, okay, because what made me think that was like, well, you've got those two names, but then you've got Barry Blue, and you've got Q-Rock. It's like, well, they don't fit. So I'm like, so I originally thought that what you're saying about Alkali in Mercury and being some kind of elements type of thing. Do you know what I mean? How it fits. But then when you look at Barry Blue, and then you look at Q-Rock, then you think, well, that doesn't sort of go. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's another reason. So I'm glad you put that up for us.
That was the main reason. But me and Alkaline are incredibly tight. I mean, we're very, very close, me and him. So we kind of, maybe there was a little bit of subconscious, like, oh, I'm going to go with that and he's going to go with that as well. Yeah. That's how close we are. So yeah, but yeah, that was the real reason how we came up with the news. But it worked out well in the end. So
when you said before that you were part of a group called Sudden Impact, who was in Sudden Impact? Was that just you, Alkali, and Q-Rock with White?
The same members in Gunshot.
Right. So where did Barry Blue come in with him? Was Barry Blue there from the start as well then?
Barry Blue was there from the start. So I was in the same class. We were all school friends. We've all known each other since, I've known Barry Blue since 11. I've known Alkaline since 4, even though we didn't realise we knew each other.
Yeah.
And Lucas G, I knew, it was our manager, I knew before everyone else from the age, definitely from the age of 3, 4. So we've known each other for a hell of a long time. Barry Blue, to be totally honest with you, that's probably one of my regrets, because Barry Blue didn't really vocally feature enough in Gunshot.
Yeah.
But the reason why that was is at the time we had 3 MCs, which was Mercury, Alkaline, and Q-Rock, which I thought at the time was too many MCs.
Yeah.
And then when after Battle Creek Brawl, or perhaps after Crime Story, I think we just about got away with it. But to be totally honest, for Gunshot to remain as a 3 MC moving forward, it was going to be difficult. You had 3 competing personalities. We all had to, how was we all going to agree on the same subject?
Yeah.
It's the Beastie Boys, but it ain't going to work for, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we purposely wanted to go from a 3 to a 2, but it just so happens, I dare say you'll ask a question about that later. Once we went from the 3 to the 2, as in me and Alkaline, it made sense to stay like that.
Right.
So at that point, what would have probably should have happened is Barry Blue would have come in and replaced Q-Rock.
Yeah.
But in terms of the dynamic, it just works better with a 2 than a 3.
Okay.
So unfortunately, Barry Blue he did his own. We did get him to release his own 12-inch, and like he did feature now and again. But unfortunately, he didn't really. He should have been in Gunshot more vocally present than because he's a bad boy MC. He really is, and he's something.
He's a great hype man. He was great on the live shows.
Yeah. But lyrically, he was better than me and Alkaline at the time.
Okay.
He had a completely different, more accessible way of rhyming and what he was rhyming about. And his ideas were powerful.
Yeah.
Whereas me and Alkaline were probably more style over substance for quite a long period of our time.
Yeah.
But he was more substance. But yeah, anyway, that was the reason why Barry Blue was there, but he wasn't front and center like me and Alkaline was.
Cool. Okay. Nice one. Anything to add, Michael, before we move on?
Just what's your memories of coming up to Newcastle for those live shows?
Oh, Newcastle was probably our best place to come and perform. And I think that once we lost Q-Rock, and then we were getting used to becoming a 2, obviously, or 3, me, Alkaline, and White Child Ricks. I think it was a Newcastle show which kind of solidified us, that made us think, right, this is how it's going to work, because the feedback we got from the crowd was amazing. We made some good friends up there. There's I can't remember her name. There was a couple of girls we got friendly with.
Yeah. No, I know who it is, and it's funnily enough, it's my ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
She's called Angela, and she started going out with Lucas.
Oh right. So I don't remember that. All I know is like
is there any little brown babies running around in Newcastle, is there?
Well, no. Do you know what? It wasn't actually like that, you know. It wasn't actually like that. I mean, we were just actually were good friends, and I mean, I can't remember her name. Donna. Her name's Donna. So
that's our friend. That's our friend. It's Angela and Donna. Well, like really good friends, and
right.
Yeah, but she actually moved down to London to live with Lucas, I'm sure.
Oh, so, I don't know. I can't say. Yeah, I but that.
Don't be crossing anybody up.
That's good. Then that's very awkward Zoom. It changed from my top 5 UK and top 5 US to talking about your ex-girlfriend. I don't want none of that.
No. It was
I'm joking.
I wasn't nothing like
Michael,
that.
Yeah, I've got only one.
what goes on in
Them-
hip hop club stays in hip hop club.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Them live shows, basically, they were like a legal riot. That's how I describe them, because they were that live. The crowd was honestly
Electric.
It's electric. In the Riverside. The Riverside's it's a really low ceiling, and you've got, I think there's about, they were all sold out, so I'm thinking about 400, 500 people inside of there, Fred. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And honestly,
let's get packed. Let's get live. Yeah.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the Newcastle shows, there was only 3 shows where we done, which it was electric. There was the Newcastle show, the shows. There was a show in Hamburg, which had about 2,000 people in there and was different level. And then there was I think it was the Reading, either the Reading Festival, one of them festivals where
it
went off. Yeah, it went off. It was in a tent. It wasn't like Glastonbury, but yeah, it just went off. So you remember things like that. But for us, we were never the sort to kind of like be on stage and say, "Oh, look at the crowd, they're all jumping for us." We was as much fans as the people coming to see us. Believe it or not, we loved what we were doing so much that, you know, it was just enjoyment. It was just nice to be able to share the vibe with people. I've never ever seen it as like fans and artists. I don't feel particularly comfortable thinking like that. I think you can say fans when, you know, we've shipped thousands and hundreds of thousands of records, and that's different. But I've never really felt comfortable with that dynamic. But anyway, like, yeah, we just love to go out and give a good show, and we fed off the vibe of the crowd. It was Newcastle was always one of our favorite places to go. That's for sure.
Okay, good stuff. Number 5.
Yeah. So once again, not in any particular order, but Catch-22, Diary of a Black Man Living in the Land of the Lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I had to practice that, but. Yeah, so the reason why I nominated that album, look at that, is that Catch-22, when we were coming up, we were quite close to them as a band. We actually went to Marga's flat one time.
Yeah.
So we would, you know, we did a couple of shows together, and they were just really, really cool guys.
Yeah.
And I think that very, very, very good artists, underrated.
Yeah.
Because to be totally honest, I'll let you into a story. Our very first tour of Germany, which was supporting Hijack, it wasn't supposed to have been Gunshot. It should have been Catch-22.
Right.
Catch-22 part of the HQ squad, which is Hijack, yeah?
Yeah.
So Hijack wanted Catch-22. But because we just come up, the promoter felt that we were going to bring in the biggest audiences on tour with Hijack. So that's the reason why, you know. But outside of that, I just think Hijack are amazing band. Very, very underrated in my opinion. Huckleberry Finn, amazing lyricist, because I tell you what, to be a solo lyricist, right, let alone do a whole album as a solo lyricist, like Koo Rock and Blade, I couldn't do that.
Right.
I mean, I'm doing it now, but only because of time allows me to have a great big pause between tunes. But these guys, man, knocking out, 8 tunes, 9 tunes, you know what I mean? 3 bar verses per tune, and the chorus as well. And it's all on you. I couldn't do that, man. So, you know what I mean? So I couldn't do that. But
again, because you're saying that about Huckleberry Finn being by yourself. But when, you know, again, living up in Newcastle, not getting a chance to see them that often and stuff, and there wasn't the visual like you've got now. So when an artist comes out now, young people have got it all over their Instagram, it's on their Facebook. You can go onto YouTube, you can see. I was always in the impression that there was more than just one rapper in Catch. You know what I mean? Because you saw a picture of pictures. There's like 5 of them on the cover. You know what I mean? So yes, we know Margaret, and you know, shout out to Margaret as well, because Margaret's a good friend of a lot of us in Newcastle. You know, he comes up to the bridge when we had the bridge up here. He comes up and stops. He loves coming up here and just chilling out with Sandy and John Dyer and that. So yeah, shout out to Margaret. But yeah, I was always in the impression that there was more than just like the DJ and the rapper. You know what I mean? But you correct us if I'm wrong. Was there other people rapping on it as well? Was there not a female something rapping with them as well? Was a
Female singer.
Yeah, that might have been. Yeah,
there's a rapper on some other stuff. Maybe
right.
not an album, but another album. I'm sure she raps on Tales of Two Cities or something. She raps.
Right. Yeah. But I'm talking about when they were like, I mean, when their very first tune I ever heard was oh man, what was it? I can't remember. But yeah, they did Right and Exact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm out in Cold Sweat. But then they had That's Gonna Kill Me, man. And this other tune was amazing. I can't remember. But when I heard that tune, we were like, wow, because Marga beat programming, he's heavy. Yeah. He's heavy. Once again, he reminds me of the Principal Caveman because he's very jazz and funk influenced. And like I think back then, because you got to remember UK hip hop, you was either fast or you wasn't. So it was either 100 miles per hour and like hitting you all about the face. So to take a step back and to use a more jazzy tinged influence, and Huckleberry Finn was very black consciousness as well.
Yes,
was very brave and confident. But they stood apart for me because of that. Plus they're cool guys as well. So but yeah, I just felt like Diary of a Black Man, Living in the Land of the Lost. Yeah, definitely one for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite track then?
Now, this is why I'm gonna have to cheat again because I can't remember the name. And the thing is, right, the worst thing about it is like I listened to these albums the other night just to familiarize myself. But like I said, I can't always remember.
You've got Ghetto Child.
That's the one.
Catch Mission.
Ghetto
Child. Yeah, Ghetto Child. Actually, that was a 12. It was a 12.
Ghetto Child's but they actually had their very first 12 wasn't on the album.
Right.
And it's gonna bug me, man. And like it had a Enter the Dragon sample.
Ah, right.
I mean, yeah, it had a Enter the Dragon sample, and we heard that tune on Steve Wren. There used to be Choice FM, which is now Capital Extra. You had Steve Wren who used to do the Friday night hip hop show, and he got taken over by DJ 279.
Right.
Yeah. So, and plus as well, you got to think you've got the whole Brixton connection. So you'd have a lot of the Brixtonites passing through there. But I can't remember the name of this tune, man. It's gonna kill me. But anyway, yeah, that tune was like, yeah, that they've announced themselves. That's an amazing tune. That. Yeah. It might have been 22 Steps Ahead. Anyway, yeah.
I like Service with a Smile, which is it's like a faster one for them.
Yeah.
I like the diary, the actual, you know, is that what it's called? The
title track, Diary of a Black Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that you could.
What's that? Sorry, you broke up there.
Could play that for this year. You could play that track, and it could be like a thing of 2020.
Yeah.
Because it's about racists in it. Yeah. It's quite actually. I just played it just before to remind us. And there's a bit of it. There's a bit at the start where there's this. It must be this little old man talking, and he says, "I'm not a racialist. Yeah, I'm not a racialist." Yeah. And it's not even a real word. And you just laugh. He's on about skinheads and everything. And it's really good.
It's a speech from the National Front. That's what that guy is. He's a National Front speech. It's a National Front speech. And it got banned off the radio because of it. You know, the wooden plates, obviously, for the National Front speech. Which I found you find a bit weird when you think about it now, because actually it was against them and it was showing them for what they were. But yeah, that was basically the sort of like they nicked that from a speech of a shouting as well after he's speaking. It's
right. But I think they've used it to show up how stupid the person was.
Yeah.
Because he said I'm not a racialist. I don't even think that's a real word, is it?
Yeah, I used to hear that a lot when I grew up, though. I used to hear I'm not a racialist and all that. But anyway, like the whole consciousness and stuff, yeah, Catch-22 were definitely, they were definitely on it. So they're definitely one of my favorites. And just the kind of, because I know that's the last of my 5, There is so many to choose from.
Yeah.
What I used as a yardstick was what ones gave me an emotional kind of like feel at the time. You know what I mean? That's why I originally selected Gunshot Patriots Game, and I thought, well, that's a little bit. And you went, ooh.
You're allowed.
Yeah, you kind of laughed at me. Freddie was like, oh, and I thought, But, yeah. But yeah, I like albums with an emotion to them. So all the ones I've picked, like at that moment in time, I had an emotional connection to them. I may well have picked another 5, but they were definitely the ones for me.
Okay, nice one. Okay, so far we've done 5, which were Task Force, Caveman, Hijack, Blade, and Catch-22 UK.
Yep.
All I've got on my record collection apart from Task Force, like I said before. So, and Riddler's got them all. So you're definitely in good company here, I would say. Let's see how you fare in the US on the other side of the water. Okay, number 1. Who are you picking for your number 1?
Do you know what? I'm gonna go with Cypress Hill.
Okay.
Cypress Hill album. Yeah.
Yeah.
What can I say about that album, man? I think there was the thing with hip hop at that time. There was so many different bands coming out with stuff, but then some of it became a little bit formulaic.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of it did, but then every now and again you get like, what was the guys who used to Daz Effects would come out. Even though I didn't really like Daz Effects, but they come out with something which was a bit gimmicky, a bit different from the norm. And I think at that time when Cypress Hill came out, to me, it definitely felt a little bit, same old, same old. And then they just came out with this album out of nowhere. It didn't really blow up in the sense of like, it was one of them ones you had to discover. I discovered that through Barry Blue. It was definitely a word of mouth album. Mm-hmm. When I first played it, the very first track, I wasn't sure. And then when I listened to it, I just thought this album's amazing. I mean, I don't know if it's the weed thing, you know what I mean? And the fact that Muggs, I think, is a phenomenal producer and used a lot of psychedelia in there, and obviously had B-Real's tone, which at first sounded annoying, and then you kind of adjusted to it and you think, actually, it was different to what was out there. And I just think it was a very important hip-hop album to me, definitely for what we were into. And it just so many. I mean, there's some I wasn't that keen on. So How I Could Kill a Man, I wasn't quite click on that. But like the Funky Phil one, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Pigs. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, it's just one after another. You know.
Funny, I just discovered that the Spanish album that they did.
Oh yeah.
Which I didn't know even existed, and I went and got it from a what do you call it, like a market. It was there. It was there for £2, so I'll have that. And I absolutely love it. I play it constantly now. But I absolutely love that album that you've chose there. I just think same as you. I liked it because it was different.
Yeah.
Everyone else was doing the same formula, and they just come up with something completely different. It took us a while to get used to Sendog. You know,
Sendog, really?
Yeah, because it was.
What, you got used to B-Real before Sendog? Because I would have thought B-Real would have been the.
Well, Sendog, because Sendog just said always was kind of thing. The bit we I felt a bit about Vinny from Naughty by Nature as well. It started irritating.
Alvin Rock.
Yeah, because you wanted them to be a bit more than just like a hype man or a side man.
Yeah.
I always understand one person can be a better rapper, but you want them to be a bit more than just like a that kind of. I like it now. Don't get us wrong, but at the time it took a while to get you. It was irritating us a bit. I used to I like that, but I don't like him very much. You know.
It's really, really funny you mentioned Naughty by Nature and Vin Rock.
Yeah.
Me and Alkaman used to think Vin Rock was better than Tretch.
What?
We used to think Vin Rock got a fucking bad deal. Because I'll be honest with you, I couldn't understand the word Tretch was rhyming about. We'll have a chat later because that could be aimed at Gunshot back in the day, but I'll explain something back.
Yeah.
I don't understand what the man was chatting about. He was putting in 100 words in a sentence, and I don't know what he's chatting about. So when Vin Rock did come in, I actually liked it because he would come in with a degree of clarity. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I found it irritating because he wasn't there enough. But I didn't think Tretch was, you know, maybe controversial again. I thought it was all right, but I just didn't understand the word the guy was talking about.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, but whereas with Be Real like that, pigs man, hand on the palm. But clear, there was a clarity there. Do you know what I mean? So Mobb Deep hated them, but you know,
okay.
You know, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, Cypress Hill, amazing.
Well, I'll be controversial then because I don't think Mobb Deep are all that, but that's just me.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm loving this.
Great Shock One's Part 2, great. Yeah. Listen to the rest of the album, I'm like, okay. I don't play that album very often. I don't play that stuff very often because I don't rate them that much. That's
wow. Yeah. Go. Not even
they're all right, but
right back at you.
It's all right. They're all right. Don't get us wrong. I don't dislike them. I've got a couple of the albums.
Yeah.
But, you know, you'll not hear me play them very often, and if I do, I skip a lot.
Yeah. But that's the thing about. Do you know what? That's the great thing about reappraising things because we can have a conversation and think, actually, do you know what? I won't necessarily agree with you. You won't agree with me.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that someone doesn't necessarily. It's something, and these are the reasons why. Do you know what I mean? So, whereas when we were younger, or if you'd have said that, we would say, nah, and you would have been Tretch. You don't like Tretch. Nah. We probably would have had a fight, and I would have lost. Two martial arts schools, yeah. But yeah, no, but Cypress Hill, yeah, what a phenomenal producer as well. Great breaks. Just really, really great act, great album.
Definitely. So, what's your favorite?
I think they hit the nail on the head, didn't they, when they started talking about weed? I mean, it got the hip hop people into it. Yeah. But then you've got everybody else around the world, like loads of students love them. Yeah. I mean, it's indie kids love them.
Yeah. That's the thing about US hip hop, you know, Michael. US hip hop, they don't just make a tune for the sake of it. Even the bands are not just put together for the sake of it. They really are looking for a marketing edge. They're looking for something which will really, really put them above everyone else. You got the Wu-Tang Clan with Kung Fu. You got Cypress Hill with weed. You got Daz Effects with the diggity stuff. Everyone's got an angle. No one's really coming out just for the sake of coming out. There's always something there to kind of. It's a marketing thing. It's all marketing. Yeah. The Alcoholics, well, we know what they're all about. It's never. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're quite smart in how they actually position themselves. But I think it's because it was so competitive. You had to. You either.
Yeah, you're right.
To do that, or you kind of disappeared. You know.
I think that would be, you know, going back to the choice Cypress Hill. I think that would be my only complaint. After about 2 or 3 albums, I was done with them because the Muggs' production, like you say, is brilliant. But I'm sick of hearing. I get sick of hearing about weed. It just gets boring. Especially if I don't smoke weed, so you know I don't even know what all the fuss is about. I'm like, well, whatever. It's like if that's all you're doing 3 and 4 albums in, and you're still talking about weed, then it's a bit boring to me, you know. And I can't be bothered with it. So that would be the only downside about Cypress Hill. That you know.
Well, that's the problem as well. If you kind of do a one-trick pony, then over time it's going to catch up with you. And I'll be honest with you, after the Temple of Boom, I didn't really. You make too many albums, you know. I think as a band, look at Public Enemy. Public Enemy, one of the greatest. I haven't necessarily anyway, but I would say how many albums they done now? 9
or something. 10,
10 varying degrees of quality.
Yeah.
Although I have to admit, I stopped listening to Public Enemy after probably Fear of a Black Planet. So I can't really judge, but you know, whenever you heard a Public Enemy tune, you just had to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think you can make too many albums. I personally think sometimes there should be a natural end to things, you know, because you run out of ideas.
You do, and you start rehashing stuff.
You start rehashing stuff, and you don't even realize you're doing it.
Yeah.
So,
especially when you're political.
Well,
You can't keep talking
well,
about
they're in a group together, aren't they? Chuck D and
profits are
Be
real.
Real, Profits of Rage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but even that doesn't make me think, oh, I'm not going to go. Nah, unfortunately.
But anytime Public Enemy are touring, I always go and see them.
Yeah. Must admit.
Yeah. Because because it brings you back to a time where they were so innovative.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it really captured people's imagination, not only in terms of what they were saying, but how they were going about it. It was like Hijack. It was theatrical, wasn't it? It was like, it was drama. It was high art. It was different. It was elevated on a completely different level than any other hip hop band. And you're gonna dive into stuff like that.
Totally. And I think also, though, I always say this, if you've got an artist that can get black males to read books, okay, you were getting black males to read books, you were getting white young men to actually look and think, actually, I'm just here in my whiteness, and this is the way it is. But actually, black people are really being treated badly, regardless of what my what my dad says. Actually, there's stuff going on here. So you had young black males being proud of themselves and thinking, actually, I need to fix up, and look at myself. You had white young people thinking, well, actually, this is wrong, and I'm part of this problem, and I need to do something about it. So if a group can do that, and there's not many that can. I've got them. I would say Paris is another one. Although I know he's not on everybody's list, but he gets a lot of love in my house. But he's, when his first album came out and you pulled the sleeve out and it had all the stuff about Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, and all of that, Black Panthers, I was like, oh, okay, I need to read about these. And it made me start reading books and start understanding, critically looking at things in a different way. And if an artist can do that, I think that's amazing. If an artist can just make people smoke weed all the time, there's a problem.
Courses for courses, and just to finish up on that Public Enemy thing, and this is why I think Public Enemy were very smart, because of course they had the whole black consciousness side of things, but it doesn't necessarily mean a white person had to be into that to listen to their music.
Nope.
So white people will gravitate to Public Enemy just because of the sheer excitement of what they're doing. Yeah. So white people didn't need to be into that. It was just enough that they were into the music, and then you share a common value with people. I mean, this is a conversation for another day. This can get quite heavy, but sometimes it's not about someone needing to necessarily always understand what you're doing, but if you can be embraced into enjoying something, someone else of a different culture, do you know what I mean? Then that's a good step forward. Do you know what I mean? So Public Enemy kind of had both angles on that, and
without a doubt,
incredibly well. So
you're right. I mean, you can enjoy it for just its enjoyment value. You can.
But if you, like I'm saying, if you're a white person listening to Public Enemy and just enjoying it, sorry, Michael, you're there. We're just talking about you. But what I'm saying is, you can listen to Public Enemy and accept it for what it is.
Yeah.
And subconsciously, you're gonna listen to what they're talking about.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take that on board too deeply, the music is just phenomenal. So yeah, very, very smart, intelligent guys, but not in the top 5. Sorry to say.
But if you get,
which is surprising.
If you get people to go to libraries and read books, that's not a bad thing either. That's what
not at all.
Black or white, because I think also if you're white and you think, well, why they're talking like that? What's that about? Why they're so angry? What's this about? And actually, it sort of goes against some of the stuff that they're learning in school.
So it brought them in. It kind of brought them in indirectly. Yeah. That's not in my top 5, which is anyway.
Naughty.
Very naughty.
Okay, Cypress Hill. What's your favourite song?
Hand on the Pump.
Hand on the Pump.
Son of shotgun, hand on the pump, left hand on the 40, puffing on a blunt.
La 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 la
la. You know,
that's a good one,
when they wrote that one, because no one writes that lyric sober. No one.
Red Meth doing it as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay.
Oh, hi. So cool.
Yeah, cool. Gunshot talk. Have you got any questions about Gunshot, Michael?
Sorry?
Have you got
any questions about Gunshot?
Yeah.
Loads. obviously is on together anymore. But you have.
No, that's at the end.
these-
That's at the end. That's at the
You
end.
want them on at the end?
Yeah.
Put them on at the end.
Yeah, because that's like future, and I've got some questions to ask there. So that's cool. Keep them questions, Michael, because it's similar to what I'm going to ask. But what I was going to say about Gunshot is what happens to like make Q-Rock leave. I suppose that's where I was.
Do you know what? Q-Rock was having an interview with Genesis Elijah, and he touched on this, and he was really frank and honest, because normally I don't really like to air dirty laundry in public. It's not really fair. But since he was really honest, I was quite surprised. Quite simply, it was down to the fact that Q-Rock's rhyme style, and to a probably more or less a degree, how he carried himself was very much the gold chain and the watch, all the rest of it. And Gunshot at that time was probably more militant in terms of, no, it has to be the music, which was negative in itself, I should say. There's no right and wrong in either side, but we were like, no, it's all about the music. We're not about this, that, and the other. And it just didn't gel. So, you know, we came to a parting of the ways, mainly on the basis of philosophy more than anything else. Right. So it was a philosophy thing. And because we had no intention of, because although I say to you that, Gunshot works better as a 2 than a 3, we never had any intention of cutting anyone out to make it a 2. It just so happened from a philosophical standpoint in terms of what direction we wanted to go in the music and our views about things. It was a bit different. He's better off as a solo artist than part of a, do you know what I mean? So,
Okay, cool. Okay, okay then. Number 2. What have you got for number 2?
Do you know what? Too much testosterone in the hip-hop game, let's be honest. We celebrate enough females enough. But this one, Queen Latifah, All Hail the Queen, is an amazing album to me.
Never heard it.
Yeah, see, I'm like not many female, which is embarrassing to say. There's not many female hip-hop artists I would really listen to, you know? And in the hip-hop scene today, UK hip-hop, there isn't hardly any UK female MCs which we kind of give praise to. So, you know, we might have to look at ourselves really, but it is what it is. But anyway, from, I just thought it was Queen Latifah, right? Mark the 45 King and the Flavor Unit, right? Match Made in Heaven. Yeah, the Flavor Unit, Mark the 45 King, Apache, Chill Rob G, Lakim Shabazz, Lord Adabasky, all of them. Just loved it. And I just think that album, obviously that was a concept album to promote Queen Latifah. Half the lyrics you can tell are not written by her. When The Evil That Men Do, KRS-One produced, he's writing, he's ghostwriting. You can hear it. He's ghostwriting for her. But that's cool. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of like delivery, execution, the music, amazing album. The only thing I will say, and it happened across a lot of Flavor Unit albums, right, is that you got 13 tracks on there or so of pure hip hop, and one of the tracks was always a house track, and I never understood it. They always put a house track on there. Who's got a hip hop album for the house track? It didn't make sense, but they did that quite a lot. I never understood that. But anyway, Coming to My House. Yeah, what was all that about? I skipped that one anyway. But oh man, and I tell you what, bad boy producer on there, Louis Vega as well. Louis Vega is a house DJ. That's what he's known for. He's a hip hop man firstly, and he produced 1, 2, 3 off the first Naughty by Nature album, which has I think it has Lakim Shabazz on there, Treach, and I think Apache. 1, 2, 3. He produced that, and I think he produced either Wrath of My Madness, or All Hail the Queen. He produced it on there as well. So he's got a very cool style. But yeah, All Hail the Queen, man. What an amazing album. Listen, I can, apart from the house track, I listen to it from beginning to end.
It's a funny one for me because I'm a one as well, and I don't really know what it is. I think it's the voice. I don't really like it, and I'm probably going to contradict myself, yeah, because I do like Be Real, but I don't really like the squeaky high voices in hip hop very much.
Okay.
So, and females tend to have that higher pitch voice, and it irritates us. So,
Right.
females I can listen to, you know what I mean, UK or USA.
Yeah.
I would say in the UK, probably the only one I've ever liked quite a lot, and I always wanted a bit more from her, was Nule.
Oh yeah.
Nule, I like her.
Yeah.
And then USA, apart from Roxanne Shante, I'm struggling. You know, like actually that I can still play now and listen to and really like. I think Roxanne Shante is probably the only one I really like. Apart from that, I've never really been a fan. Boss, I like Boss's album.
Yeah, Boss is good.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think then I'm struggling after that. You know,
Yeah.
Michael, how do you feel about
MC Light, without a doubt. MC Light.
MC Light, yeah, she's definitely got a unique, you know, but the thing about Queen Latifah, because Queen Latifah's got a slightly different, she's a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just love that album. It's one of my go-to albums. That, yeah, I just think it's an amazing album. Like, if I'm in a creative phase where I'm thinking, right, I need, because when I'm kind of writing, I do draw upon other things I listen to, just not really for ideas, but for mood.
Yeah.
One of my go-to artists is Sean P. Peace.
Yeah.
Right.
Love like Gorillas, you know what I mean? Like I love Sean P. I love the way he would rhyme, and then it's like he got a sniffle and he kind of like sniff. I love it. And Queen Latifah, All Hail the Queen is another one of my go-to albums. I'll go to for inspiration because it's an emotion thing. Like there's a lot of tunes on there which kind of like, I don't know, man, it all glues together so well. It just kind of it just grabs me. So yeah, amazing album.
Cool.
What's your favourite track then?
Oh, Queen of Royal Badness.
What's that, sorry?
The Queen of Royal Badness.
Queen of Royal Badness.
You've done it again.
You've done it, you as well? You're joking?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, it's either that or definitely The Evil That Men Do, which I think is one of the best titles of a track of all time, by the way.
Of course, we've got Little Londoner on there as well, though. Money Love.
Yeah, Money Love.
And that was more of the ladies' first one was more of like a poppy sort of.
Yeah. I skipped that tune as well, if I'm honest. So I don't listen to it all the way. The house one I skip, and the ladies' first I skip. Yeah. But Queen of Royal Badness. Down, 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 down. You got to listen to it, Fred. Give it a go.
You know what I've been saying is obviously when people are recommending, I'm going to go back, and the other thing I've said on some of the other ones that we've done is I'm older now, you know, I'm in my 50s now, and my sort of choice of music, obviously I'll still listen to my classics because, you know, once I love them, I love them. But the stuff I'm starting to rediscover now, when it's like records I bought, I listened to a few times, forgot about, and now I'm like, oh, hang on a second, I'm going to play that again and think I really like it now.
Yeah.
Because I've been on lockdown and because of the mood I've been in as well, and, you know, like from my mental health and stuff as well, you know, sitting in the garden a lot, I've been listening to tunes that I've thought I didn't really like and thinking, actually, I really like that. This is really good. And it's just made me sort of reconnect with some hip hop that I haven't really listened to. And I like the slower stuff, the more jazzy, slower stuff that I never used to think I liked. Or sort of like, I'll listen to it, but not very often. But now I'm listening to that more than I'm listening to some other stuff now, you know. So that's
I don't really listen to any new stuff. That's my I don't really listen to music, if I'm honest. I don't know. And if I do, it tends to be stuff which I'll be honest, I wish I didn't do that. I'd like to try and listen to new stuff, but I find myself drawn back to listen what happens to our parents in it. I'm sure when we were youngsters, our dads and what have you, and mums would listen to stuff which goes back. It just brings back memory. So, but yeah, anyway, so that's Queen of Royal Badness. All Hail the Queen, definitely. Yeah, for me.
Nice one. Okay, number 3.
Well, what I'm doing, Fred, I'm looking at just reminding myself. Kim, follow the leader. There's no reason. There's no explanation needed, really, is there?
It's a go-to one.
I mean, what can you say? No, I mean, you know, I was telling you about that whole theatrics and drama and stuff. Well, adding someone being able to take you to places just by what they say. There is no other person I think he can do that than Rakim. I mean, Follow the Leader, you know, takes you through a journey through the universe. Planets small as balls of clay. I mean, really? Planets as small as balls of clay. Who comes up with stuff like that? I mean, and then once again, if I'm in a creative phase, when I did Sulphur, one of the tunes, I was listening to a lot of Sean P, but the main tune I listened to, which is nowhere, let me not say, I am not comparing myself to Rakim, no way. That's not what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying drawing an inspiration from was Microphone Fiend. Yeah. Because Microphone Fiend, to me, is the blueprint for any MC. If you want a tune which basically just kills it on every level, right?
Yeah.
He's got the superlatives there. He's got the pronunciation there. He's got the cadence, everything. Microphone Fiend. I was a fiend before I became a teen. Yeah. You know what I mean? I mean, amazing. And then it's just the way he's propelling on that tune.
Yeah.
Constant. It's like a UFC fight. The man's on you constantly. He ain't letting you go. No matter what triangles you throw, you ain't getting up. I'm on you. And like, he's the God MC for a reason.
Yeah, yeah. I always say this, but what, you know, I remember hearing this stuff on tapes and stuff, you know, didn't even have the records at first, just hearing his voice and then seeing him for the first time on telly, which was a video that I got, which was one of these hip hop and rapping in the house things, something like that it was. Yeah, and it was Move the Crowd.
Yeah.
And he comes strutting on stage and it just, the way, like, he just sort of like saunters on.
Yeah.
Tracksuit on, you know, and I just like, he just looked cool as. And I just thought, this is the dude, like, you know. This is the coolest MC I've ever seen in my life. The way it comes out of his mouth like butter, you know, like just.
Oh,
yeah.
I've got his book and I've not read it yet, but I remember
the book. I'll check his book out.
Yeah, he's got a book.
Yeah.
I've got it, but I've not read it. But years ago, I remember seeing something on YouTube where, or seeing something written down about him, and they said, "How did you learn to rhyme like that?" Because he can actually paint a picture. Not many MCs can do that.
Yeah.
I can't think of hardly any, but he actually paints a picture for his rhyme. And he said when he was at school, he said it's all down to a teacher who he said, I won't give you how I done it, but the teacher basically came up with a method of being able to use your words and to paint a picture with your words.
Right.
And this is when he was 11. So he remembered that, and that's what he uses when he actually rhymes, because it genuinely takes you on a journey. You can close your eyes and be. It's a poetry working at a very, very high form, basically. You know, he's phenomenal. He really is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
So, which track?
I probably. It's a tough one, you know. It ain't just off that tune. I mean, you could go to Mahogany, but Mahogany's not on there.
Nope.
I was going to say Microphone Thing, but it's going to be Follow the Leader, I think. But it's very, very close.
What's yours, Fred?
Off that album.
Yeah.
Remind us of the songs on it again.
Follow the Leader, Microphone Fiend, Put Your Hands Together, Musical Massacre. I've got mine, but I'm not going to tell you because you'll see it.
Other songs are on there. Just remind us. Other songs are on there.
Lyrical Fury, Eric B. Never Scared. There's loads of good ones. I'll tell you mine. Mine's Lyrical Fury.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It is just... It's a record that should have been a 12-inch, and it never was.
Yeah. And I mean, this is just a tune which it just uses funky drummer. That's all it does.
Yeah.
It's a bit like Mama's Gonna Knock You Out. This shouldn't be allowed. You shouldn't be able to use a well-used break like that and just change it up completely. It's criminal. But yeah.
I've got to say, I don't know which one I would pick off there. You know, I'm trying to think off that album which one I would pick.
Maybe the whole album. Just the whole album.
Yeah.
All killer, no filler.
Tis.
Okay.
Really good. And we've mentioned it before, but look at the jackets.
I know.
Dapper Dans. The Dapper Dans.
It was everything. It's the haircut as well. I used to always go and go to barbers and get the haircut like that as well. Used to love it. You know.
There's a bit of controversy around Eric B. and Rakim though, because Farrah Khan used to say it was either Eric B. or Rakim or it was either Polo and Kool G Rap, but one of the DJs was a drug dealer. And they used to go to shows as an opportunity to sell drugs to people who come to the shows. So, you know, I don't know which one it was, but that group, that DJ, and let's be frank, Eric B was a shit DJ. I mean, oh, come on, man. Have you listened to that seminal album? How the hell, if that was me at Alkaline, right? White Child Ricks doing the bad boy production and then coming with them scratching, it couldn't work. We'd be like, that is shit. How the hell?
The rumor is that Eric B has got gangster connections, hasn't he? Still, you know, a lot of interviews I've read and seen. Eric B's got some shady business associates apparently.
Some shady scratching as well. But yeah, I love the little backstories. There's little backstories in the UK hip hop scene which will never bubble up because, you know, to protect the innocent. But sometimes it's the little backstories which kind of make it fun.
Well, I always say this. I think, you know, hip hop's no different to anywhere else. It's like you said before. It's dominated by men, and men's got a lot of testosterone and ego, and nobody likes to, like, you know, look over their shoulder and see somebody else is getting more shine than them, or why they got more fans, how are they selling more records. I'm a better rapper than them, but they're selling more records. And it's like, you know, it's not always about being the best rapper. I think we know everybody rates Rakim as being the best rapper, but he's not. He hasn't necessarily sold more records than others. So when you were saying about Wu-Tang have been able to package themselves around all that martial arts and the brotherhood, you know, that kind of brotherhood, a bit like Band of Brothers, that type of stuff, you know. You know, all of that sort of imagery all goes hand in hand. And I think you're right what you said, and I laughed when I saw your post. Because when you get past their first solo albums, and even some of them, you know, when you look at their solo albums, some of the songs you skip. So Method Man, as much as I rate him as an MC, that first album, you know, to Cal, I do skip some tracks on there. I don't rate, you know what I mean? Same with Ghostface and same with Raekwon as well. You know what I mean? There's some songs on there where I'm like, well, okay, it's a bit boring now. You know, they're not classics. I don't think they're classics. They're good, but they're not like classics. So then when you look at it all together, actually Wu-Tang's been a bit of a disappointment in their solo stuff for me. You know, I think the only one's Jizza, who's ever done like a major first release, but then he's never done anything else.
I think just to go back, like, it's not a Wu-Tang fest, but I think the thing with Wu-Tang which probably disappoints me is that I've seen them live and they honestly, either for lack of organisation or they just, I don't know, lack of enthusiasm, they just can't be bothered. And I'm like, if you've invested all that time of coming from nowhere to like the levels you are right now, and you've got millions of fans, you got even a geezer like that Martin Shkreli, who owned the unreleased Wu-Tang album, which is worth £2 million dollars. He's down now. I mean, gold disc, never released. You know, it's not going to sound all that either. But anyway, all this to do shows which are like just not bothered. It just seems to me like a wasted opportunity. But you know, at the end of the day, I have to agree with you though, Mike. Though, because sorry, Fred, because look, at the end of the day, they marketed something, they've taken it further. And Wu-Tang has almost become. It's just become a word in the dictionary now. It's become, you see the Wu sign. Some people put Wu signs in the memes and laugh. I mean, they've got themselves to household status. So
Wu Wednesday, you know, they've got the Wu Wednesday. They've got all of that. They've got all of the girls with the t-shirts on every Wednesday. You know what I mean? They've really cornered it. I mean, you know, that sign is a tattoo, as a t-shirt. Do you know what I mean? On people's walls, they've done really well at the marketing, and I think that's important as well. And I think it proves it. Rakim's, you know, everybody's top 5. He's in it. nearly everybody's top 5, he's in it. But his product hasn't always been that much either, has it? When you think of like output, it hasn't, for somebody who's a god MC, there hasn't been loads and loads and loads. Don't get us wrong, I'm not running them down, but they haven't really, Eric B and Rakim, and then Rakim by himself, haven't marketed themselves very well. And I think marketing's got a lot to do with it. Do you know what I mean? To convince people, to convince the kids to buy it, buy into it, you know? So, yeah.
No, I agree.
But what they came out at a different time, so that could be one argument for that.
No, but you see that, but then LL Cool J, Run DMC, you know what I mean? They were all at the same time, you know what I mean? And they've done well, you know? So, you know, for somebody who's the best rapper...
Well, it's like going back to Queen Latifah.
They were a bit more commercial, though. They were able to spin out commercial tunes, whereas rap wasn't really about that. So, like,
that's what I was just about to say. He's more...
He's underground, isn't he?
Street hip-hop. If you see him today... I mean, he must be 60 years old, is he? 60 something? He's got to be. And he's still got his champion hoodie on, his baseball cap, his baggy jeans, and you think he just hasn't changed one bit. He hasn't changed one bit, and he's. I mean, I'd love to hear a new album off him.
Yeah.
To be fair, though, a lot of the legends, though, that's perhaps the only thing is you do kind of live off what they've done in the past, because a lot of the legends, if they come out with new stuff, it's not really that great, if I'm honest.
No.
Maybe my expectations of what I expect is different, but yeah, it doesn't seem to have that excitement anymore. It's just almost like, well, why did you bother, really? I know you bought money, but you know.
But I think also, following on from that, I would say that, like I always keep saying, you know, look in Newcastle especially, there was a lot of mystery. There was some magazines started coming out, but they went out at first. I didn't even know what people looked like. A lot of the stuff I was listening to was on cassettes. I didn't even know what people looked like. You know what I mean? I've said this before. I was really shocked when I first ever saw Africa Bombata and Grandmaster Flash in them, because I was like, that's village people. Why? Because I'd never seen them. I hadn't seen them anywhere. I'd only heard the music. My cousin came from America with cassettes and said, listen to this stuff. This is the new stuff. Get into this. And I was like, oh, I like this. This is good. You know, listening to it. And then when I actually saw them, I was so disappointed. What's this? Do you know what I mean? Like, I was shocked because I hadn't seen it before. I hadn't, you know.
I know what you mean.
It was my mentality at the time as well. You know, I wanted people to be macho and all of this type of stuff, and I was like, this is bizarre to me. So I think, you know,
it's just every day now, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But you know, when you're rapping about street life and then you're dressed like you're going to a theatre, that's what it was like, wasn't it? You know what I mean? It was very theatrical. You know. So yeah, it's interesting because they look like Prince. They look like Prince, didn't they? You know what I mean? Prince and in the village people, to me. Yeah. It was a bit weird. But I think...
Like George Clinton's sort of style, Funkadelic sort of style.
Yeah.
Rick James.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we go to number 4, because we're time's getting on a bit, we need to move on a bit. Michael, you had a question before. I think it's time to ask that now.
Okay, obviously, you're still doing singles, obviously. The Burn Cycle.
Yep. Nice.
And So Far.
Yep.
And there's also a remix.
Yep.
Ooh, I didn't know about that. You didn't tell us that one.
Oh yeah, there's a remix. So, the So Far remix, it's a good one. It's a good one as well.
I've got the other 2, but I haven't got that. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Benoit done that.
Okay.
Obviously, is there waiting with bated breath, both of it and fans around the world? Is there any more new stuff coming out? And will Alkali be on it as well? Can
I just jump in there before that though, because Michael's asked something that I wanted to ask later on. I thought you were going to ask.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll just jump in before that and just say, I remember when you brought your second one out, and it was a bit kerfuffle on. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but there was a few people saying, "Well, it's not proper Gunshot because this one's not on." I don't know if you remember. I jumped in.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I jumped in and just said, "Well, you know, it is what it is. If you know it's then they're on, don't buy it." You know what I mean? It's their name, they can do what they want with it. My only suggestion was maybe to put on Gunshot featuring, you know, or saying Mercury from Gunshot or something like that, just so it's clear that people don't think White Child Ricks is on the beats and that Alkali's there. But actually, you can do what you want. You know, it's your legacy.
Exactly.
We buy your stuff, but you know,
you don't.
Oh, you don't? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Look, the reality is Alkaline and White Child Ricks are retired. They have no desire to really want to come back and do any music, and quite rightly so. Considering we've done this for 10 years, 3 albums, you know, they're entitled to like not want to come back. The reason why I came back with Gunshot, and this isn't new because I've done this in an interview with Steve.
Taxi.
Yeah.
Is I had an itch to scratch. I wanted to come back. Okay. You're quite right. I'm a member of Gunshot. Okay. I wasn't putting the wool over anyone's eyes. I think it was very clear, right? If they weren't, the fact that I was the only one on there, and no mention of my name on any of the Gunshot records, by the way, apart from Bulldog, big up Richard. Well, none of this would happen without him because he's an amazing producer. I've known him for 25 years, but I'm not pulling the wool over anyone's eyes. All I've asked is listen to what's being delivered because it still has the Gunshot flavour. And I think one of the best comments I heard was his name is called Ring Generalship. I don't really know who he is, but I've added him to Facebook because, like, you know, I have. And he said when Burn Cycle came out, his comment like made me think it was worthwhile more than anyone's else because he said, do you know what? When Sulphur came out, I was into it, but I was like, and he said, I still miss Alkaline. But he said, boy, Burn Cycle, man, do you know what? Love it. Love the scratching. I'm fully on board now, which is all I'm asking is for people to kind of dig into something. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? And just see what happens. I'm trying to recreate something, not necessarily from the past, but from how I enjoy hip hop and how we used to do hip hop. Yeah. That's all I'm doing. So, but yeah, so Alkaline won't be there. He won't be there. But he works with he hears before anyone else. He gives me input, and I always rely on him on that, and that never changes. So he's probably a lot more involved than you think he is. He won't be doing any. He's put down the mic for good. And then the first question: will there be more stuff? You'll have to watch this space. So
he's smiling.
Nice.
I'm trying to, because you can imagine this is a cycle. This is a new Gunshot cycle. So everything must come to an end. So I'm trying to position things so that it can come to a nice conclusion. Okay. You know what I mean, albeit without Alkaline and White Child Ricks, but yeah, that's what we're working on at the moment. So watch this space. Watch this space.
Thank you. Okay.
So just one more question. If you could work with one producer, let it be UK, USA, who would it be?
The one I'm working with now, which is
all right. Yeah.
Honestly, he reminds me of White Child Ricks. I have a very, I can't explain to you what sort of beats I like. I can only tell you what I like when I hear it. And I'm very hard to please because I worked with a White Child Ricks who he would just bang them out like it's nobody's business. We were incredibly spoiled. Me and Alkaline didn't have to ask Ricky to make we might have done once or twice, but White Child Ricks is somebody like, if you tell him to do something and he does it and you're like, he will make sure the second time you will never ever doubt him again. Right. So that's the level he was on. So me and Alkaline were just getting them presented to us off a conveyor belt and we just chose which one we wanted to. It was easy. You know what I mean? Richard was a fan. Bulldog was a fan. I've known him for 25 years. So for him to kind of like have his own style, but still kind of almost have a little bit of the Gunshot is quite difficult. And that's not even from me telling him. He's just like a process of him sending me stuff and he knows what I like. He knows my style. And I'm always still trying to push him to do something slightly different, not completely off key. Yeah. But yeah, so Rick Bulldog, I won't work with anyone else.
Nice one. Okay.
Excellent.
Number 4.
Number 4 is going to be Lakim Shabazz, Pure Righteousness. Probably quite a yeah. My man's got them all. Probably quite an unusual choice. Where did that come from? I just love Lakim Shabazz.
Same.
Amazing MC. And he's got the whole. He's silky. His voice is silky, man. And within that silky voice, he's delivering some proper messages.
Yes.
Proper consciousness.
Yes.
You don't even realize that it's coming into your ear like butter. You don't understand, and then you think, whoa. Because the way he's rhyming, what he's rhyming over is quite party beats in some respects, in certain instances. Mark the 45 King. But yeah, to me, it's an amazing. We used to listen to that album a lot. That was one of our go-to albums. So I'm not looking at my phone being rude. I'm trying to remember the track list.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of our go-to albums, definitely. Yeah. Like I said, I like the whole Mark the 45 King. The Flavor Unit, so he's part of the Flavor Unit, so that's probably one of the reasons why I like that as well.
I will tell you that there is a house track on here as well.
Told you, I'm telling you, I don't understand why even Jungle Brothers did it.
Yeah.
There was a period where we'll make a hip hop album, but we'll throw in a random house track.
In defense of Jungle Brothers, though, they made some coin off that, though, didn't they?
Well, yeah, they did. Yeah, our house, yeah. Well, yeah. Perhaps that's the reason why all the others tried it as well, maybe.
Probably. What's
your
favorite track?
Favorite track? Black is Back.
Black is Back.
Yeah, Black is Back.
That's a good one.
Okay.
My one is, although it's a remix on here, The Posse is Large.
Oh, yeah.
But I like the original version of it, but it's a remix on the album.
Yeah.
All right, can we move on to number 5 then? Just I'm conscious of time. We've been on for nearly 2 hours here, so we need to just...
Beastie Boys, Hello Nasty.
Beastie Boys.
Hello, Beastie Boys. Yeah. You got the 12-inch?
That's the Intergalactic 12-inch.
Yeah. I love the Beastie Boys, probably one of my favorite bands of all time. In fact, when I first got into hip hop, they were probably one of my go-to bands, Beastie Groove and all that. Always just got plenty time for them. Just think they're amazing. I think that's an amazing album. My favorite track of the album is the Grasshopper one. Yeah, I think that's an amazing one. But Intergalactic's heavy on there as well. I even like the instrumentals they do because they're instrumentalists.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Hello Nasty. That would be
Okay.
the last one.
That's been brilliant.
Unfaulted.
I was just looking at the clock. I was thinking, wow, we've been on a long time here talking.
No,
But it's been very, very interesting. I'm just again, just thank you for giving up your time. I've got a couple more questions, and I'm sure Riddler's got a couple as well. So I just wanted to. You've said that they definitely do want to do it again. So Rix and Alkali don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
Does Rick still make music himself anyway, just for himself? Does he do that?
I don't really speak to Rix anymore, if I'm honest. But so far as I'm aware, he doesn't make any music, and neither does Alkaline.
Right. Okay. Alkaline does neither. No.
Sorry.
I think Rix is a graphic designer or something now. Somebody had mentioned it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they've done it the correct way. I'm the one who's broken the rules here. When you've retired, you should retire. But you know, I had an itch to scratch, and I just wanted to scratch it. And the reason why I wanted to use Gunshot as a name, because why not? It's just Shot featuring Mercury doesn't quite
what I would say is, why throw the toothpaste out if there's still a little bit left to squeeze?
There's definitely a little bit of toothpaste. You caught me off guard with that one, mate, if I'm honest. I don't know how to yeah. No, but you're definitely right. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about quality, right? As long as it's something which is going to come out and make people think, whoa, then I've done my job. And then, like I said, we want to try and end it in a nice way.
Yeah.
Obviously, what with COVID and stuff is kind of slowing things down. But hopefully we'll be able to. Well, we'll see what happens really, and see what we can come up with.
Okay, nice one. Couple more questions. Let's see what I was going to say there. You know how you've seen that you've got a few more that you want to do. back to Gunshot, like is in the original lineup. You know how you said you probably had to do about 90 demos. Is there any like lying around under any stones, or you know, any like unreleased stuff that you could maybe leak at some point? You know, like a Gunshot, the unreleased tapes, or you know, the lost tapes like Nas did, or any of that?
Do you know what? There was a couple of unreleased stuff which I worked with Boris. Yeah. So we was on Naked Apes, and now I'm just working with Boris on his own label.
Yeah, Underground United, yeah.
Yeah, he put together the Underground United, and then there was a tune on there called Average New Yorker, which was an unreleased.
Yeah.
Phantasmagoria, which was supposed to have been the follow-up to Patriot Games.
Yes.
There's some demos off of that, and I had a CD of a lot of, well, quite a lot of, not a lot, but some demos, unreleased Gunshot demos, but the CD got corrupted. So I've got some of the songs, and there's one particular song I've been trying to upload onto YouTube, but I can't get it to upload because the file's too big, which is called The Heart and the Cross, which I think people will like, because it's me and our client going at a certain subject, and there was one called 9 Months as well, which got corrupted. I quite like that. So, but so there's a couple, but like I said, the CD's corrupted, so I'm not quite sure how I can make it work.
I was excited for a second anyway.
Yeah, but there's a couple out there. Look, like I said, Average New Yorker's on Underground United.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And you've got Construct, Destruct.
Yeah. That was like from the John Peel sessions.
Yeah.
Can I just... Yeah, go on.
Bullets Entering Chest, they're like the original version.
Yeah, that was John Peel. But can I just say something about Alkaline, though? Because I think this is important to say. Alkaline, for me, is probably the best MC I have ever had the pleasure of working with. And like, the guy is phenomenal. So I can completely understand it when people want to hear Alkaline, because this guy is, some of the stuff I heard this guy do shouldn't be humanly possible. I'm not talking about tongue twisting thing. I'm just saying that this guy is everyone knows it. He's formidable. He's formidable. And like, you know, towards the end, I was trying my best to catch up with him. You know what I mean? I had to keep. And even then, because this guy, and I mean, even the way he rhymed, we had a chat about this about a couple of weeks ago. I don't know how we got onto it. We was just talking about, well, how did you use to rhyme? Right. And like, I'm quite a conceptual guy. So I'm quite dark, actually. So I tend to veer towards dark subjects, but I'm quite conceptual and like sometimes like to rhyme in the third person. So that's how I work. Alkaline now, he rhymes to the hi-hat. I said, what do you mean you rhyme to the hi-hat? I didn't know what he meant. And I've known this guy. I said, what are you talking about rhyming to the? He said, he said, I rhyme to the hi-hat. So whenever Ricks used to do a tune, it's the hi-hat he was listening to. So if the hi-hat went, his rhyme would go, or if it, and I never knew that. And then I thought, can you imagine how difficult it is to rhyme to a hi-hat? Snare, bass drum, loop.
Yes.
The man chooses a hi-hat to rhyme to. And that's why Alkaline sounds the way he does. He's different. He doesn't rhyme the same way as other people rhyme. He's very, very, his pronunciation, stuff he can come out with, different levels. So I can completely understand. I miss him as well, but I'm got the benefit of being one of his best mates. So I see a different side of him outside of rhyming. So I get the best. I'm good anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You know?
Michael, any last things to say?
Yeah. I just want to say this tune.
Yes.
Nobody Move.
Yes.
Yup.
Right?
Yes.
This tune is my wife's favourite ever hip-hop tune.
Really?
Ever.
Wow.
And you've got to remember that she likes people like 5, East 17, Take That, and stuff like that. Fred, so does Fred. Never mind. No, that is her very favourite hip-hop tune ever.
Do you know one thing about when I look back at certain things, what we should have done, we shouldn't have made Nobody Move the A-side, and we should have pushed the Alkaline tune, because there's certain things we've done which I think might have transcended us and took us to a bit of a different, just on the back of what Alkaline was doing. Not completely with him alone, But that one, it should have been Nobody Move at the A side, and then Killing Season the double A side. But you live and learn. Yeah.
Okay, we'll come to the end now. I think you know, again, thank you very much. I just feel it's like an honour for you to just, you know, come on and just speak to us in Newcastle. So, you know, my only other question would be before I finish it off altogether is, when COVID's gone, do you think you'd ever tour any of your songs? Would you do a little bit of a tour? Or you think about doing that, or is it just strictly studio stuff?
Yeah, I'm too old, man. I mean, like, I'm on my own as well. I can't. Nah, this is just studio stuff. This is just art. This is just see it as an art thing, an experiment, and just seeing where we go with that. So, unfortunately, you don't want to see me and my big belly anyway.
We're not coming to see your belly. We're coming to hear your lyrics.
Yeah, but the two go hand in hand. You listen to my lyrics, you got to see my body. But nah, unfortunately.
Have you got anything you want to say before I close it?
Yeah, just go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think what you guys are doing is really phenomenal, because I'll be honest, there's a lot of these going around with people interviewing, and sometimes you're like, oh, it's quite difficult. But yeah, I must admit, you know, asking people what their top 5 UK and top US is quite a different approach. So it takes the spotlight not off me, and I can actually explore some of my history through things I like. So keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah,
Michael.
I just want to say, sounding like a bit of a fanboy, but no, I mean, thanks for the records. Thanks for the memories of the live shows. Thanks for the memories of the early 90s. It was just special times. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, mate. No, it's really kind of you to say. And as I say, hopefully we can close the chapter off in a way which hopefully does justice to Gunshot now and where we were in the past. So we'll see what we can do for you.
Okay, I'm just going to close it now. So I'm just going to say a few things just to close it. We are the Vinyl Vandals. You have been sitting and listening, and we've had the pleasure of listening to Mercury from the highly rated legendary hip-hop group Gunshot. Yeah, there's really got all the records there. Like I said before, we are the Vinyl Vandals. Who are the Vinyl Vandals? The Vinyl Vandals are 4 friends. That's me, King Fred, DJ Riddler, Julie, and John. We are just friends who like to jump in a car and drive down to London to go to a gig, because not many artists come up to Newcastle. We like to fly across to Glasgow. We like to go to Leeds, Manchester, wherever there's hip hop, we'll go there. We like to put the odd show on ourselves when we can, when COVID's not raging. So if you want us to be playing somewhere, we'll do it, because we love doing it just as friends and as fans. We're not doing it for the money. We've got jobs. We're not about trying to make money out of this. It's just for the love. We love to do this show, which is the Favourite 5, which came about because we wanted to do something to stop the boredom in lockdown, and because we love hip hop, and also because we wanted to look after our mental health. We're strong champions of mental health. We believe in making sure that we have good, healthy mental health. And we need to support each other and talk to each other, and talking is a good therapy. And also within that, playing music is a good therapy as well. You know, whenever I'm feeling down and low, I'll put some tunes on and it lifts my mood, and that's important. Yeah. Please ring somebody up if you're feeling low. Please get in touch with each other and look after each other. The Vinyl Vandals have a show every Monday night on Try Radio. In between 8 and 9 o'clock. DJ Riddler's your man. He plays the tunes, the best of hip hop tunes, from this side and that side of the water. We are also going to be, me and John are going to be launching something called 7 Bridges, which is going to be a hip hop mix show once a month on Try Radio. Yes, we're not DJs, but we love music and we just like to put some tunes together. And the first one we're going to do is something called the 10th anniversary of Keep the Faith, which was a sort of collective that I was part of that started 10 years ago, which was promoting Northeast hip hop, which not a lot of people know. There's a hip hop scene in Newcastle and Sunderland, Gateshead, Tyneside, Wearside, and Teesside, and the hip hop arts that live all the way across the map of the Northeast. And they'll put out some good music, and I think people need to listen to it. So we'll be sharing that around and seeing what goes on up here. Also, we hope at some point to be doing shows again at Darlington with our friend James Watson. And we've got some other ideas up our sleeves, so just watch this space. You have been listening to the Vinyl Vandals. Thanks very much. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Big up John and Julie.
Yeah.
Big up Sandy. Try Radio.
Yeah. And thank you again.
Thank you, Mercury.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Respect.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Bye.